Episode 3. On Christmas, Rick sends Morty inside the body of a homeless man to save his life, a parody of Fantastic Voyage. Inside the man's body is a microscopic enclosure called Anatomy Park, a parody of Jurassic Park, which houses various deadly diseases that escape their enclosures. Morty and one of the park staff, Annie, flee from the rampaging diseases as they kill the rest of the base staff. Rick rescues them by enlarging the homeless man's body to the width of the US before destroying it in an explosion. Back at the family home, Jerry's parents visit, and the family attempts to bond without electronic devices. Jerry is dismayed to discover his parents have decided to try polyamory. Episode 4. Aliens hold Rick and Jerry captive in a virtual reality in an attempt to steal Rick's recipe for concentrated dark matter. As Rick attempts escape, he discovers that there are multiple virtual reality layers on top of each other. Jerry, on the other hand, despite numerous system glitches, remains completely oblivious and keeps trying to sell his advertising slogan for apples. Rick finally games the aliens by giving them a fake recipe. The aliens send Rick and Jerry on their way, and their ship explodes as they prepare the concoction. Episode 5. After killing deadly enemies in an alternative dimension, Morty complains that Rick's adventures are too dangerous and traumatizing. This leads them into a Jack and the Beanstalk type adventure, where Morty is in charge. He decides to steal the giant's treasure and give it to the villagers. The giant dies by accident. Rick and Morty are charged with murder, but are ultimately acquitted. Rick and Morty then descend from the giant's Beanstalk realm and stop in a fairy tale pub on the way down. There, King Jellybean attempts to rape Morty, but Morty escapes. Rick wins money playing poker and gives it to the villagers. As Rick and Morty are leaving this dimension, Rick kills King Jellybean, having figured out his attempted rape of Morty. Meanwhile, Beth, Summer, and Jerry use Rick's Meeseeks box to spawn Meeseeks, blue creatures that fulfill one request and then explode. Jerry summons one Meeseeks to help him improve his golf game and spends some time training, to no avail. The Meeseeks summons more of them to help, resulting in an increasingly larger crowd of frustrated Meeseeks. They decide to kill Jerry, but given one last chance, he ultimately demonstrates that his skills actually have improved, and the Meeseeks are happy to disappear. Episode 6. Morty is interested in going to the dance at his school with his classmate Jessica, so he asks Rick for a love potion. However, because Jessica has the flu, the potion becomes airborne and goes haywire, causing not only her but the whole population of Earth to fall for Morty, save for blood relatives. Rick attempts to fix up an antidote, but he fails twice, ultimately causing all humans affected by the love potion to turn into mutated monsters called Cronenbergs, a reference to famous director of body horror films David Cronenberg. Meanwhile, Jerry visits Beth in her workplace because he is concerned about her fidelity, and they find Summer later. Rick and Morty then migrate to another dimension where their duplicates died soon after successfully curing all of Earth, thus allowing Rick and Morty to assume their roles. Episode 7. In a pawn shop in space, Rick buys Morty a sex robot. Soon after, the robot conceives Morty's alien hybrid child, whom he names Morty Jr. Rick, and Summer go to the sex robot's planet of origin, Gazorpazorp, to find better-suited parents for Morty Jr. After discovering that the Gazorpazorpian females are the dominant gender on the planet, Rick and Summer learn that the males of this species mature in only days and are, by nature, extremely violent. The Gazorpazorpian females arrest Rick due to his open misogyny and threaten to execute both him and Summer until Summer reveals her fashionable top was made by a man, convincing them to let them go free. Meanwhile, Morty Jr.'s quick aging puts pressure on Morty to try and raise him. Fearing his aggressive instincts, Morty keeps Morty Jr. inside by telling him the air outside is poisonous. However, the isolation causes Morty Jr. to become rebellious. When he realizes Morty lied to him about the air, he gets into a fight with Morty until Rick arrives and prepares to kill Morty Jr. Morty steps in the way of Rick's weapon, telling him he still loves Morty. Junior Morty Jr. decides to move out and live on his own while channeling his aggression into a creative art. Episode 8. As the family watches The Bachelor, Rick is dissatisfied with the quality of Earth TV, so he upgrades the cable to show programming from every conceivable dimension. Eventually, They see Jerry on TV as a successful actor in an alternate reality. The family, minus Rick and Morty, uses Rick's goggles to see through the eyes of their duplicates in that alternative reality, where Jerry and Beth have successful lives, they never married, and Summer was never born because Beth had an abortion. Jerry, Beth, and Summer have a heated discussion in which they conclude that family life is holding them back, and Beth admits that Summer was an unwanted pregnancy. Summer feels unloved and plans to run away, but Morty tells her that he and Rick themselves came from an alternate dimension, as depicted in Rick Potion #9, and persuades her to stay. Ultimately, Beth and Jerry discover that their alternate selves are miserable in their own ways and witness them getting back together, which convinces them that they also belong together. Episode 9. Summer works in an antique shop which is run by the devil, which gives away items that come with harmful curses. Rick sets up a competitor shop where he uses science to remove the curses, and the devil is put out of business. Summer helps him to relaunch a successful .com company, but he betrays her and keeps the company for himself. Summer and Rick build muscle mass and publicly beat up the devil to get revenge. Meanwhile, Jerry, helping Morty with his homework, insists that Pluto is a planet. They are abducted by Plutonians to their world, where Jerry is mistaken for a scientist. His statements about Pluto being a planet make him instantly popular, but it is later revealed to him that Pluto is shrinking due to corporate plutonium mining, and the Plutonian leadership keeps the population distracted by assuring them Pluto is still a planet. Jerry tells the Pluto citizens the truth on a public speech, causing him to be hated and deported back to Earth with Morty. Episode 10. The show's original Rick is wrongfully accused of murdering 27 Ricks from alternate dimensions and kidnapping their respective Mortys. The Transdimensional Council of Ricks arrests him and finds him guilty, upon discovering incriminating evidence which was actually fabricated to frame him. Rick and Morty escape and are chased by a few duplicates of themselves. The Smith household is flooded with other Ricks, and Jerry develops a friendship with the good-natured doofus Rick. The real culprits seem to be an evil Rick and his evil Morty, who have been using Mortis' low-intelligence brainwaves as a way to conceal themselves. They capture the original Rick and Morty, but the original Morty leads a rebellion of alternate Mortys and releases the original Rick. Rick informs the council about the real killer, thus clearing his own name. After Rick and Morty depart, the council discovers that evil Rick was actually under control by an unknown puppet master, which was evil Morty all along. Evil Morty escapes by blending into the crowd of Mortys without a Rick. Episode 11. Jerry and Beth participate in a reenactment of Titanic, but the ship unexpectedly fails to sink. Jerry spends some time alone with Lucy, a female janitor who eventually proves to be a deranged fan of the movie, forcing him to imitate scenes with her at gunpoint. She almost rapes Jerry, but Beth saves him. Meanwhile, Rick is left in charge of Morty and Summer, but they have a large party. Among the guests are teenagers, aliens, Gearhead, Squanchy, alternate Ricks, and Abradolf Linkler, a DNA combination of Adolf Hitler and Abraham Lincoln. Not only do they make a mess, but the whole house is accidentally sent into another dimension, where Linkler seemingly dies. He actually survives. Ultimately, the guests are sent away, and the house is returned to its place. Rick, Morty, and Summer only have minutes to spare before Beth and Jerry arrive, so they use a contraption to freeze time, allowing them to repair the house. They watch Titanic and unanimously agree on how terrible it is. Alright, that's Rick and Morty recaps. If you like video like this, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe this channel.
Take this anymore! I'd rather breathe poison than live another minute with you! No! The government's lame! Thanksgiving is about killing Indians! Jesus wasn't born on—
Take over the planet, and I am too young to drive! Can you help me get him back? It's Dad! It's okay! Put the car down, and if you hurt him, you'll have to kill me, Rick! Junior, I'm sorry. I ended up lying to you and yelling at you just like maybe there's a job out there for people that feel that way.
Actually, there is. It's on a near daily basis. But you know?
Will you please not marry me? I choose Veronica.
Conceivable reality.
Wait, Does that mean we get Showtime Extreme?
How about Showtime Extreme Infinite Universes? Look,
This shit is delicious.
a movie. Letterman from a timeline where Jerry's famous.
Wait!
What in the hell?
Cocaine with you too, Johnny Depp!
Ugh, haven't we spent enough time on you?